Happy Saturday, everyone. So I am back, and we are, yes, at week 50, and this is our roundup week. So this is the last few weeks of the year is all about self-reflection. So it's going back into our journals, discovering what we've learned, not only in terms of new techniques, but about ourselves, about our language, our the way we construct our visual vocabularies, just what has developed out of this. And like I said last week, in order for you to really kind of ground it into your practice as artists, you really want to reflect on it, and that helps you to really kind of grab it and hone in on it and make it yours. So we did the papers and techniques, of papers and what have you that we've made over the year. We covered that in the form of texture. And before I flip through this, let's go ahead and deal with week 50, which is cataloging our symbols and mark making. We love mark making. I'm sure there's so many of you, I've noticed that symbols have started coming out that you use over and over again. It's a part of your language. I really want you to look at that and not just look at it as, oh, I made some circles, oh, I made some squares, oh, I made some triangles or whatever, but just look at how you made them. Did you do them in multiples? Were they done in multiples more than done as a single? Size, orientation, all these things are really about placement. It is everything also about the language and the symbols that we use. So it could also be mark making, just repeated mark making that you were doing that you really enjoyed. And it's also a great way to document the mark making tools that you were using that made certain marks so that you can remember them. So that's what this week is about. So as we continue this month examining our art mythos and the results of our year-long journey, we turn our attention to symbols and mark making that we have created. We have spent time considering the ways in which symbols have been used since the beginning of time to communicate ideas in an image. We have learned that we also use symbols in a repeated way to communicate ideas in our artwork. This week, I'd like you to catalog your symbols using a blank sheet of paper. Document each symbol you come across as you review each journal page from this year's journey. So once again, the blank space that you have in the back of your journal is where I want you to catalog these. Now, there's a couple of different ways I do them, and I'm going to share both ways, and then you can kind of choose which way you want to use, or you might decide you want to do them both. So one thing that I used to do all the time, and I don't do it as much because I notice I've kind of honed my symbols in, so I have a tendency to do the second thing that I'm going to show you. But like I would suggest, if this is your first time kind of really looking at your symbols as a part of your visual vocabulary and your language, then do this first way, which is either sort of draw or stamp or write what your symbols are. So let's say if it's a circle that was done, let me just find something here. Just say that, it's a circle like this, and it's one that I used over and over again, this sort of donut one. Either stamp it, Xerox it, put it down, or draw it. And so you're going to put it on a blank piece of paper, right? And so every time you flip through your book, and I'll demonstrate it, you're going to either put the new symbol down that you see, or if it's a repeat symbol, just put like a little, tick mark, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and slash through it for 5. And because we're going to count how many times over the year that symbol appears in your journals. It's a lot of fun to do this. So you want to do this for each symbol you come across. And of course, like I said, when you come across a previously documented symbol, just do another slash mark to count. And go all the way through your journal, both books, until you've done that. And so by the end of the exercise, you will have discovered your top 5 symbols. So you just go through, and then you'll look at, maybe you have, isolated 12 different symbols, but maybe 5 of them you notice have a lot of tick marks beside them. You've used them a lot, or maybe it's 4, whatever number, but you're going to realize what your top symbols are. And most likely you'll be surprised by how many times you use them and their significance. This is the other thing that I found interesting when I first started doing this. Also, it's highly likely that you are that you were inspired and came up with I'm sorry, that's not a good sentence there. So spend this week purposefully using your symbols as you would the written word. Observe how you continue to build stories with these symbols. My revelations from this exercise included how I came across my intuitive scripting. I was really surprised when I first did this years ago. I was always making these little marks, and I just had kind of thought of them as mark making, but as I started looking at them, I realized it had a real language feel to it, and that's really how I really began to learn and embrace intuitive scripting. It was funny. The full circle, my ink blots, my my squished jelly circles, and so that is like this. That's what I call my squished jelly circles. I found I was using those a lot, and I really liked them. So, then some of the new things I had discovered along the way was photocopying and enlarging my script so that it becomes an added element. So sometimes I'll take and photocopy this and make it really big, and then just maybe this curve or that sort of pixelated look, I'll use it in another as a collage item. And so it was like how I was enjoying photocopying and increasing a lot of my symbols so that they even had like a completely different look to them. So it's amazing the kind of things you'll discover. So I really look forward to seeing what you discover, and please share it with me and enjoy the process. So the other thing that I do, the other way that I do this, so let me just show by example. Let's say we're going to start here. So like here I have a squish circle, right? So I would write that down, or maybe just do like a little drawing and push jelly printed squish circle, you know. And then you would just check that. Maybe like this mark making here. I might find, wow, that's something different. So I might just take my pen and just sort of scribble it. And then, like what you want to do is, let's say I've come across this, so you do something like that and you say 1, and then, oh, I see it again here. So I use it here and I used it there. So 2, let's say it's this grid of circles, this 9. I like that, how that's used. So maybe I come across that once. So you're just going to literally go through like just this circle drawn just as a line with ink, and you mark it. Maybe this series of dots. So I was using dots in a series 1. So you just really go through and find, so here this is again. So I put another mark there. Here it is again. So I put another mark there. So I'm really liking it. So what it's showing me is I really like using this, Here's some more of my scripting. So of course I would, kind of put my scripting, do 1. And literally, so here's the scripting again. So that gets another mark. And you just want to go through the book. And of course, for me, I had a lot of my symbols. So I would begin to put the symbols that I was using, maybe how many times I used it. And so that's what you do. You're going to, see, here's these dots again. So I put another one. So literally what you're doing is you're just going through and you're making your list, and do it inside your journal, or you can do it and transfer it to your journal. And just go through all of your pages until you have this amazing list of symbols with the amount of times you've used them next to it. And then that'll be all in your journal, and you'll be able to document, wow, and be able to look at, well, I really do like using these or using this in combination. It is a very, very, very good just exercise to flush out. And then the other way we could do it, which is the way I'm going to do it, and I'll show you when we go down to the table, I made these symbols, my hearth code symbols, here in 2021. So what I like to do is start when I'm using new symbols or I'm creating symbols like this, I'm going to put them in the back of my book because it's a way of documenting the new symbols that I kind of created and used in my work. And it reminds me, okay, this is the year that I made these particular symbols too, you see, and using them in my work. So maybe there's stencils and stuff that you were using that you really, really liked. And so go ahead and we're going to put the stencils in the book. The mark making from them, and so you can, you know, remind yourself about them. So I will show you that when we go down to the table. Before we do that, I'll flip through and show you how I finished out the papers. So these are the ones we did together, and then these are the ones I did, you know, with my patrons. Look at, oh, these just look so good. I mean, they look like little collage artwork themselves, but it just, like all these patterns, it just becomes like a swatch book to remember what you did and being able to go back and just repeat these. Like I said, if there's inks or colors that you don't remember, go ahead and make notes for them. So these are the ones that I did on calligraphy paper, sort of doing the shibori style, some of them, and then this is using more of the calligraphy paper. So what I did is I separated using the tissue paper and doing staining from using the calligraphy paper and do staining, because the paper takes the staining differently. And no surprise that this would be here, right? Like that little easy, simple little design is just, I just love it. I love using it. So over here, these are some more of the papers that we made, you know, when we were making those, you know, we were just sort of doing texture. This is store-bought and this is store-bought, but I like these two. I got them both at Blick, and I think they work well with the papers that I made. And so I wanted to remember that I liked using these together. So I put those faves in there, because sometimes you forget. Like I can go periods of time and not use these papers, even have them, and then I think, oh, I need to buy some more of those. So I like to put those in there to remember. And then this is like the mark making. So I wanted to remember some of the paper, the mark making I did, and some of the papers that I did them on. This is onion skin. This is the glassine. I really like just using these, you know, basic circles and in combination like that, and then even doing them so when I first stamp them, there's more paint or ink caught into the lid, and so of course it makes a full blot and then starts making these. I like that push and pull of that. This is mark making on the tracing paper. This is one where I used the glassine and then I took the brown acid-free tissue paper and glued it on top of it, and I really liked how that came out. And on this page is where I was using Seth's texture paste, and so I wanted to remember how I had done some of this on the tissue paper, and then just some on regular paper. The different, this is some of the flaking, this is the sand, this is using the stencil with gesso. This is painting with gesso. And then this is my tea bag, and I do tea bags a lot, but I wanted to remember that this one I did with chaga. And actually I need to write that down because I may not remember that that was chaga. That's one of those I could forget. So let me put chaga. So that's what you do. You can make your notes. And these are just some of the prints that I like making when I do the eco staining with coffee. And so I like to remember the patterns from some of my stencils that I use. So that, I really kind of went through and got a lot of my papers flushed out. So this is a really helpful glossary. So I know that I'll go and pull this book off the shelf when I'm looking, because the rest of these papers have basically been stored away. So I know where I've stored them all. So as opposed to opening the envelopes and trying to go through them all, I can go through here and just sort of remember what I'm looking for. And so there we have it. So let's get down to the table. So actually, before we get to the table, I thought I would do a quick flip of this month's Asian packs. I did 2 for December. This one is paper collection 1, and the second one you're going to see is going to say letters, letters, envelopes, and covers. So I don't have a flip of that one right now. I didn't print it out in time for this video, but you'll see the images, and it's going to be a lot of images of those type of things. So I did mine front to back because I think I want to use it in the book structure when I go ahead to finish flushing out our Gelli Junker Dory that I showed, that I'm going to show you at the end. But I will show you now because I have it pulled out if I can keep things from cascading. So the project, the book journal that we'll work in for next year is going to be this style. Sort of a Midori's traveler style. But I like to fill it with all kinds of papers that are some of my scripting, just Gelli printed one-offs, and just, you know, really just papers that I wouldn't really do anything else with. And so when I wanted to print this out, I said, let me print it out front to back because I would like to use that in this journal. And you could do the same thing. You could do two-sided printing, and it just becomes a nice foundation for pages in there. But of course, you know, you want to do one-sided so you could use it for collages. So this is from my collection. There's just, I really filled it up. I think this one has like 17 different images. They're all different. And, you know, just a nice variety. And these are all vintage and from my personal collection, so you're free to use them as much as you want in your work. Some really nice ones here. And then, as always, I did a the smaller versions of them. So these could be just used as smaller images. They also could be used as journaling cards if you'd like. But all the images are different. And then I did the washi tape strips. There's 7 of them. And these are just neat to print out and be able to do the double-sided tape and use them as washi strips, or just here again is just small fragments for collaging. And then we have 2 different ones of larger sort of journaling size cards. Or here again, it's just a different size version of, let's say like this one is similar to this one here. So you have it in a couple of different sizes, which makes it nice so that all the script that's in the pack is not all one size. And I do it like that because I find when I'm collaging, you know, you want to use different size little pieces and you don't want everything to be the same size. And even though this is the cover sheet here that I sort of designed using different things, there's still good stuff on here, so you could print it out and really still use this whole page for collaging as well. So there's 2 separate Asian paper collections, and if you get both of them, they're completely different stuff in them. So there's no repeats over, I think there's 17 to 18 pages in each of the collections. So over 30 something pages, there are no repeats of the papers. And so they're still $6, like I always make them monthly. And this month I just went on and released both of them, so you have, you know, plenty of stuff to use, because so many people have asked me when I was going to release more of the Asian, because the last one that I did was last October, which was 2020, and it was called Kana Love. Kana Love, and that has papers in it that are completely different from this one. So they're all, you know, entirely different. So I want to do a flip before we move to working in our journal because I forgot to show you. So here we are. Alrighty, take care. See you in a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do today, like I said, I would suggest you all definitely doing this if you've never done it before, and then also do this. For me, I'm going to just do the stencils because I pretty much have, you know what I was doing sort of new that I liked. And then I captured a lot of it here in these papers like when I showed you this mark making. So I know I've cataloged some of my new mark making here, and that is good. I did it in the form of, you know, the different papers. So this could, and I put this at the end because this could be, you know, very well the beginning of the mark making section. And then remembering that these are all marks. So I kind of cataloged them together, but since I had them in the form of papers, I went on and put them in here. So you could do that same thing. I hope that makes sense there. And now what I want to do is I want to work with these stencils. And so I'll just kind of get started. I'm not going to do all of them right now, of course, because quite a bit number of stencils. I'll finish this. I need to get a new pad. This is terrible. So I'm going to use some carbon black in the goldens. Why not? Let's get a nice image. And this is one of my stencils from Hearth Codes. And like a lot of the images are on here. Not all of them, but I put a lot on here because I always like to make smaller sizes of stencils as well. So that when you're working them together in a collage or something like that, you got different sizes. Everything is not just this one big size or whatever. So like this one, this stencil I have, I really do love these stencils. So like for instance, this one is here in this size. So I have this one. And then here's a even smaller version of it there. Let me see. So see, this is here, but then we also have that size. So that way when I create the stencils, I try to do them so that if you want to work with them, it's like not all, the image is just not all one size. You know, it'll come in various sizes just to kind of help with, you know, isolating it to be used different ways. Like this one right here is one of my faves. And see how large it is here, but then we have a smaller version there. So I'm going to use a lot of the smaller ones right now. To kind of just document. I'll just get some good old-fashioned stamping. So I'm going to stamp this whole thing because I really do like these images in here. And I want to be able to catalog that, like I said, that, you know, I had done them this year, and because I'm constantly working on new ones. And since my journal is, you know, I use as well to just catalog my, you know, journey. Being able to look back at another point 3 or 4 years from now and remember, oh yeah, so 2021 was the year that I created these particular stencils. You know, sometimes it just, stuff gets away from you. So it sort of documents for me what I've done with my art in any given year. And I'll make sure that I put in the description below, in this description box underneath the video, that's where I normally put everything that I'm using. I know sometimes I do forget to put it, but if I'm ever using anything and I've referred to something and you don't know where it is, just go down in that description box, open it, and sometimes you can open it to see more. Like it'll say see more, and hit that and then scroll down, because sometimes it'll be all the way down at the bottom depending on how often I use it or whatever. So that's where you'll find most of the thing. So I'll put the link for the stencils there as well. They're my stencils are produced with the the company is iStencils, that produces my and manufactures my stencils. So you can purchase them online, and they're right there. I'm just saying all that because I know that I get asked that a lot. And also I get asked, where's the link? So I'll make sure, you know, or sometimes even other stuff that we're doing. I know sometimes you guys will ask me. And I do try to put it in the video, in the description. So look there first. But if you don't see it there, then it meant I forgot it. And definitely reach out and let me know. Because I can forget stuff. So I really appreciate it when you guys let me know. It actually is a big help. So yes, some of your favorite stencils, or even from the collection, if you got stencils from the collection, this year's or earlier in the year. I think I did 2 collections this year, did I? Or did I do one last year? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I have new ones that I'm working on in collaboration with another project that I hope to share with you all soon. Can't let the cat out the bag too early, but so I will be designing more. But if I have some stencils that you've used that you've really liked, you know, or another, you know, one of your favorite, you know, artists, you're using their stencils, this is a good place to put them too, so that you can remember. Okay. Alrighty. And I wish I, you know, as I have said before, I'm like putting my studio, oh, it looks so good. And I did these so that they can work together as a collection too. I think just using them as a grouping is nice too. So what do I want to say? It'll come back to me. So in the meantime, kind of have to let that dry. But I'm going to go through the stencils and probably some of the ones, because some of them aren't all on this one. So like these, I'm going to catalog them in my book. This one I've used a lot. I love this stencil. I've used this one a lot. So I like that one. I think that one was what we were using when we sort of did these full page. So that's like one of them there. And this, I really love these. So it's going to be, so I'm working on, oops, some new ones. Where is, here we are. Kind of got, didn't mean to get it in my paint there. Okay. So I was trying to wait for this to dry a little bit and to see what else I wanted to. I love these. So these aren't on there. So I think I'm gonna find a few of those, do them on the next page. See, it's just a process. Just, you know, how we do, put a movie on, some music. I like this one too. A podcast. And just take your time and just have fun while you sort of kind of go through your various stencils and looking at them and cataloging. I had another starburst like that one. That's what I was looking for. Pretty sure I do. But I don't see it right now. So what we're going to do is let's flip the page and do just another one here together. And then, I love these. I don't know if I can get... Okay, let me just do this one first. And then come back. Okay. Let it dry, and then I'm going to put another one. These weren't on that little sheet, so that's why I'm going to go through, and everything that was not on those little ones, I'm going to do as large ones in my journal. So I hope that you all are also finding this roundup process helpful, like, you know, to really help you flesh out your work. And because what I really want to do is I really want you to make the work that you did this year your own. Like really, you know, process it. And that's what happens a lot is we do a lot of work. We take a lot of workshops. We learn a lot of new techniques. And all we do is go from one technique to another, but not really stopping and figuring out how to really make it our own. And, you know, like how does that fit? How does this new technique that I've learned mesh in with the other ones that I've been doing? And, you know, and you know, and if you don't stop and evaluate, it's just kind of like you just kind of, you know, go from one thing to the next, and before you know, and I hear a lot of people will reach out in emails and share their stories and stuff and different things, and they'll talk about how basically, you know, they just kind of run from one technique to another, and before they know it, they've accumulated all these techniques from workshops and then really don't know what to do with them. No idea how to pull them together. And that happens. It definitely happens. And so stopping and doing art journaling and what have you has been like a really good way for them to really discover. Put this one here. Might as well use up the rest of my paint here. For them to really discover, you know, their own style or what they like and, you know, how they want to use things. So that always makes me happy when, you know, you can see the results of the art journaling, which, you know, in a lot of ways seems like you're committed to a process that when you're done, well, all I got is a book, but that book is huge. That book is what I call an infinite pool of ideas. And if nothing else, when you come into your studio, oops, I'll let this move. You come into your studio and you feel like you're fresh out of ideas, all you got to do is open one of your journals and just look through it, and you'll gain some inspiration for something to do. And that's, you know, one of my secrets for just never running out of ideas is because I always art journal. And normally in a given year, I'll have several of them going. So next year, we're going to continue a journal. The process is going to be a little different because I'm actually working on another book and fleshing some stuff out. And so it's going to be kind of fleshing out. It's going to be a lot of jelly printing. It's going to be fleshing out a lot of jelly printing techniques, and sort of like the simple 1, 2, 3s. You know, these, you know, really kind of isolating it and making them even just more targeted. If you do these 3 things, this is what you get. Because I know when I teach it, or when I'm just doing a video and we're hanging out, I'm doing a lot. You see my hands going a lot of different ways, and I'm doing a lot of different processes. And based on a lot of the questions that I've gotten last year and feedback from workshops, like the type of questions that people ask and the things that when people kind of got stumped on, like on one-on-ones when we're doing like our group sessions. I did a series of those workshops, and they're still up. They all were taped. And if you go over to my school, I'll put a link down below for all the jelly printing workshops that I did from August through the beginning of this month. We did 8 of them. You can still sign in and do them. They're self-paced, but we did them as webinars. So you'll be able to hear the feedback from other people, the questions that they asked. You can see some of the work they were doing. And I found that in real time, I was able to really help people solve a lot of problems because it was right there happening and we could have those conversations. And so that learning experience, because I want to learn how to better help, teach my community, and help you guys to be so much more successful in your creating time that, so what I'll do on Saturdays, it'll be like, you know, I'll isolate it into 1, 2 or 3 steps on the Gelli plate. Very simple technique, tutorial driven. But then, so the beginning of the video will be that. So let's say 15 or 20 minutes will be targeted. This is what you do around Gelli printing. For the most part, it'll be Gelli printing, collage, and mark making. So I'll target those 3 categories and then really isolate. And then the second half of the video will be us taking whatever we worked on and collaging it into our journal that's going to be the style of my, which I don't have here in front of me. I'll make sure I show you all next week. But it's going to be in the style of my Midori kind of junk journal. And I know I've flashed that before and shown you all. Here's the one that I'm starting, but it's nothing on it yet. It's just my cover and my, but this is, I think this is about the size we'll work with. And so it'll still be a yearly journal. So mine, I used a lot of my Cuban cloths. This was, I had a bunch of these I did. They were on sale on my website at the end of last year because so many people wanted to get their new ones, especially ones who've gone along with me and knew these. And I know I'll put some more up. I just don't right now I'm going to get to them. But you can actually make them using some of your old Gelli printing papers and stained papers. And I'll try to do a link. I've already done this before, so I'll try to find the link for how to make it so that you guys can start working on making one. And so when we're done, so this is a particular style that I like to do. It's called Gelli Junkadori. So it's kind of like making a junk journal, but using our Gelli prints. And it's a really fun structure. So the second half of our Saturday workshop will be us working in the junk journal with the papers that we made. And then that way it becomes this compendium of things that we've done, and we'll work all the way through. And like in a given week, you know, you can work several pages and kind of continue like we did this year. So when you're done, this journal will be so nice and chunky. I'll make sure to remember to pull, let me see, is it here? No. Oh yeah, it is. Hold up. I'm packing so much stuff up that I'll show you. These are from the last couple years. This is from 2 years ago. And this is from last year. So I'll show you, because I always do these covers, and then when I'm done, I sew them so that we have a book. This is so much fun. So I think this is a fun way for us to keep on journaling together, and at the same time really targeting the work. And then for people who don't want to necessarily do journals, they may just want to come and learn some of the techniques. You know, after the first half of the video, you know, you can go ahead and do something else if you don't want to do the journal. But I think most of us are going to want to do the journal. So you see how we'll make these pockets, but we're going to use our Gelli prints, found ephemera. It is so much fun. So we're collaging, but we're using things, and we're just, you know, let me see. And some of these things are like, in my journal last year, like a lot of my patrons and, you know, followers and what have you would send me happy mail. And so when I did, so like this page I had done sort of look like a, you know, a, what do you call it? A field notes journal. Because a lot of times I'm just inspired by different themes based on the papers we had. And then she sent me these really cool tags. And I love them. They're Gelli prints and stamps that she did. So I stuck them in here. So a lot of times when I'm sent things, I then will put them in my journal. But you see, it's this particular style that I do. Like, this is good. Where we have the side tuck, and then we also have a pocket. And, oh, this is something else that one of my subscribers sent. So I stuck that in there. So just to give you an idea, and see, this is just using our collage papers and different things, sort of making booklets within a booklet. So there's a lot of techniques that I do with junk journaling. So this is a whole booklet inside of a booklet with fold outs, all kind of good stuff we'll do. And it's just, you're going to be using a lot of our papers that we had from this year, as well as the new ones that we're going to be using from different techniques. Like this is what they call a belly band, but I made it out of this figure that I liked, and I just sort of, and then put this little passport book in there. So you guys get the idea. Just doing a flip to show you, to get you excited about the kind of journal that we'll make this year, coming year, but yet, because so many of you have asked me, what's 2022 going to look like on YouTube? What are you going to be doing, Robin? Tell us, you know. So, but you can see when we're done, my style of junk journaling is it's still, you know, like when you take something out of a pocket, I want the page to still look like a piece of art. Like you wouldn't know that there's pockets there, you know. And that's what I enjoy so much. And then we made this little flip out book with pages and stuff like that. But, you know, it's still, you know, I feel like true to my style. I like this sort of thing. So, yeah, like this one right here is just some beautiful collages using our jelly prints and different things. And then this is a pocket. So you guys get the idea. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a combination of, this is what next year's, and see when it's done. Look how chunky it is. Oh, it's so good. And this is one from the year before. I won't flip through the whole thing, but you guys get the idea. It's just yummy. From jelly prints and stuff like that in there. And we, you know, like this is a jelly print, and I used it and made a pocket out of it. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. So we're going to attack tutorials and really honing our skills and still making our journal. So I hope you guys like that idea, and I will make sure to find the tutorial I have for making this. It's just a Midori style, which is why I call it a Jelly Junk Midori, because basically it's a Midori style journal where the inserts are put in with elastic, and that makes it very flexible, so these pages can come out. We can rearrange the pages, we can work on the pages flat, so all year long we'll be able to really manipulate this book. And then when we're done, that's when I normally take it out, and then like this would be my cover for it, and then I reuse this cover, and then I sew it, and so when I'm done, the book will look like this. Okay, so for all of you who've been asking me, I'm patiently waiting. That's what I'm planning for 2022 on YouTube. So we're going to have a lot of fun together. Comments, anything that you want, you know, based on what I'm sharing, any questions you have about it, anything you want more clear, like, Robin, what do I need to get, or what, you know, whatever, please give me all that in the comment section so that we can really flush it out. You'll have the rest of December to really get ready. So when we start in January, we're going to hit the ground running. All right. I think that's enough for today. You guys got a lot of work to do and things to consider as we move forward. So once again, love you all so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, for hanging out with me. I love our morning hangouts. This is so much fun. As I'm taping this now, I'm anticipating that we're coming up on the end of the video, and we'll all have said, you know, we'll have shared so many things in the comments. And we will be saying goodbye now from all over the world. It's amazing. You know, you guys are in here from every part of the globe. Like, it's just about every country is represented. And I just can't thank you all enough for the huge community that we've created around this kind of work. All right. Take care. Love you all. And I will see you next Saturday. Bye-bye.